This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. And here we are, January the 11th, 2022. Folks, I have a wonderful guest on here today. We're celebrating the 50th anniversary of Harold and Maude, and also, the 40th anniversary of Bloody Birthday as well, a couple of anniversaries in there. And I know this is actually, they actually celebrated their anniversaries last year, but, Harold and Maude was released in December of 1971. So, it probably would have played into now anyway.
Right.
Folks, I have one of the lovely actors from Harold and Maude on the show with me today. Folks, I welcome Ellen Geer. How do you do, Ellen?
How do you do? It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. You get a nice background there. I love the detail.
Oh, it's my home.
There you go. Beautiful. Well, just I'm in between places, until my the plan is my younger brother and his wife and I are supposed to get a either build or get a house where they live upstairs and I live downstairs with my cat. But our folks are both terminally ill, and my brother's been looking after them, and so
I-
it's just hasn't come to fruition yet. So I'm just here in this little apartment with my cat.
Well, you've got a buddy. Then, if you have a cat, you have a buddy.
I love my cat. He's probably not going to love me tomorrow when I take him in to get his shots, but
Right. Right.
he has to get them every year or every other year or whatever. So
Mhm.
yeah. So how are you doing there in California?
We're doing just fine. We're doing just fine, thank God. My family's in good shape. We're all in good shape, and we're just riding out the storm like everybody else. Mhm.
Yeah, we got the jump on this whole pandemic, whatnot. We're not in lockdown, but I just wish this whole thing would go away.
Everybody does, I know.
Yeah.
But it's
Yep.
been this way for, well, since we were probably created, there's always been plagues.
Yep. Yep. You're right. Actually, I don't want to get preachy, but the Bible even talks about this stuff.
Oh, yes,
Yep.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, did
But
you have any questions about Harold and Maude? Is that what
I
we're
do.
celebrating
I
today?
do. 50th anniversary. What do you think of that? 50 years since that film came out.
Well, he was a wonderful writer, Colin. He was a wonderful young man, and he wrote about a story that I think reaches many people. That it shows that you can love at any age, and that anybody can help you through periods in your life if you're open to receiving it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that film came out the year before I was born. Actually, I probably would have been in the womb when that film came
Yeah,
out.
yes.
'Cause I was born July this following year. What an odd little film that is. And of course, you played one of the one of the women that
One of the
Vivian,
dates.
huh?
Yeah, one of the dates.
One of the dates, and you were kind of going along a bit with Bud Court's Harold's um, suicidal shenanigans that he was playing, and
Well, that's what theater people do.
mm-hmm,
They explore stories.
yeah, yep. Talk about being casted in Harold and Maude. What was that process like?
Oh, I was downtown and my dad and I were watching a play at the Mark Taper. It was a
Uh-huh.
farce. It was a farce, and I told him, I said, I have to go do this audition, and it's a strange audition. It's way up on Sunset Boulevard, when you're a young woman and you're alone. I said, would you come with me? And Pop said, sure. So we drove all the way up the windy road to the top. And we got out in this house, and I said, if I don't come out in 20 minutes, will you come in and get me, Pop? Because, you, when you have auditions, you usually do them at a studio or something like this. This was a private, very, very expensive home. And I went in, and that's where I met Hal Ashby and the producers, and we got along. And they
Hmm.
liked what I did, so I got the job, which is good.
Speaking of your dad, Will Geer, you obviously had a wonderful relationship with him because you wrote two films that you also had him part of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, talk about your relationship with your father.
Well, I just love family. I think it's one of
Hmm.
the most important things that keeps us all going. Is family going through the good times and the hard times and the continuation of it. Everything else is kind of blows away.
Hmm.
The family is where you have the deep-rooted love, and I was given that from my father, and my mother, who was an extraordinary woman. And our relationship was always good. I loved going to nurseries with him. He knew the Latin names of all the plants. I loved singing songs with my mother. She was a folk artist, and she did films later on in life. Yeah, we've just always been in the biz of passing on stories and singing for people and helping make life better.
Yeah. Well, what was your reaction when you first read the script for Harold and Maude? Because like I remember when I first saw it, and just the opening where Harold is committing his first act of suicide, and it just really throws you off. You're like, and then you realize, gee, this is a comedy.
Yeah, that's right, right. Oh, I just thought it was a great script.
Hmm.
Right from the beginning of it, I loved the whole idea of it, and I loved and Bud Core and I knew each other. We were taking a course with a man named David Craig who helped actors learn how to sing in musicals because sometimes actors get frightened about singing if it isn't part of their core. And so I knew Bud, and it's just a great script. And to know he was going to do it, I just had to do it with him.
Were you on set for any of the times he did any of those shenanigans um like
Burning the car.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw that one. I took my son with me to watch that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Bud was an interesting sort, and of course, the whole thing, a relationship between he's obsessed, of course, with suicide and has a hearse and visits funerals, and of course, he meets a 79-year-old woman played by Ruth
Gordon.
Gordon. Ruth, of course, hot after Rosemary's Baby, and Ruth is one of these women that acted with every bit of her body. She knew how to act even if she's not focus. And for me, I think it takes a lot of skill to do that because I don't think I could even pull that off. But she, of course, is in this film, and um, do you have any memories of her?
I didn't work with her. I didn't work with her, and I had a young son at the time, so I only went in and I did what I did, and then had to leave. And I was also at that time working in a repertory company in San Francisco. Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's probably an honor that you got to even be in a
Oh
movie
yeah,
with
it
her, you
was.
know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We have a theater down here now, and we did the play because it was originally a play, and
Uh-huh.
we did it down here, and I got to play her that part, and I had my daughter play Sunshine Doré. Yeah, it was fun. It's been a part of our lives.
Yeah.
Law.
And Vivian Pickles, of course, playing
Yeah,
the
right,
mom who is
yeah,
trying to straighten out Bud Court and
right,
is not exactly being successful with it.
right, right. Yeah, no, it's hard. It's really, really hard. That shows you what sometimes perhaps money can do. She had so much money and she didn't know how to love him, and that's all he really wanted.
Yep. Yep. Do you remember the premiere for the film?
No, no, it's too
Okay.
long ago. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
No, I'm sorry, I can't give you any little tidbits.
Do you ever get to do the cons, like the conventions? Because I would imagine Harold and Maude would be one of these films that
Mm, no, you have to really. I no, I did a lot of conventions with Beauty and the Beast. I mean, that a
uh-huh.
series is more of a place that you do conventions. I think, and that had huge conventions all over the world. But no, I never did. I don't know if they even had them.
But I bet you had a lot of people approach you with Harold and Maude memorabilia, though.
Yes, uh-huh. That is because it affected a lot of people, and especially affected a lot of young men who were having trouble in their life.
Yeah.
That was the big thing to me, to how it did help them, because you see a sense of humor, and the big thing is Harold's looking for love, and when he finds love, he realizes life is all right, and he doesn't have to just find it in the confines of his home. He could find it outside his home.
What I loved about you in the movie is you really stole your scenes, and and I know at first you really threw him off, and then it just kind of went with it, and I'm actually kind of surprised that didn't all work out for him at the end.
Two crazy people, yeah. Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. But
Yeah,
I
it was,
did think that was an interesting part in the movie where you think, maybe this is gonna work out. Maybe he's found a soulmate.
yeah,
And of course, well, history shows otherwise.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to bring up, looking at your filmography, was let me go back here. Uh, is it The Reavers? Is that the name of the film? The
Yeah.
Reavers? Okay. Okay.
Mhm,
Oh, I did get that right. You worked with Steve McQueen.
mhm, mhm, yep.
What are your memories of him?
He was a wonderful, energetic man. He was wonderful, and that film, I really did enjoy that film. It was my first time on a set, other than something Petulia, I think, and he what was interesting is that he was really trying to act it and not be Steve McQueen, because that's some of the problems in Hollywood, is people start idealizing a star type, and there are star types, Kate Hepburn. There are so many people who are star types, and then there are people who are real actors who dig into different elements, and they're both good, they're both needed for the business. So I enjoyed watching him trying to do that in that film, The Reavers.
Yeah, I always liked Steve McQueen. He had very subtle demeanor to him. You see that in Bullet, and you see it in other films.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now, another film, of course, celebrating its anniversary. Well, last year it was his Bloody Birthday, and I'll go tell you my little background with this film, because this is a film I saw not too long ago for the first time, and because I really like horror films, and something really caught my attention in it whenever I was watching it was the little girl Elizabeth Hoy in the film. I was like, where do I know that face from? Well, I'm a huge fan of the Blues Brothers, and I actually got a face mask, a pandemic face mask with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd on it, which gets a lot of attention. But there's a scene in the restaurant in the Blues Brothers where Elizabeth Hoy was a little girl at the rich people's table, which gives this little interesting reaction to John Belushi. And when I watched Bloody Birthday, I was like, that's that little girl. I think John Belushi made her demented. Anyway, Bloody Birthday, of course, about three very nasty kids. played by three very talented young actors, and of course, you're part of this film. Uh, um, and I guess you could say with Harold from Harold and Maude, again, another one where kids are doing very, very different things to, except Harold does his right out in the open. These kids do theirs right behind the scenes. Talk about working on Bloody Birthday.
Do you want to know something? I don't even remember that film. You could probably talk about it much more than me.
Ah,
So long ago for me. You know, there are so many things when you do in my business and you do them and then they're done. And I probably, if it was a horror film, I probably tried to forget it because I wouldn't want my children to see it.
ah.
That's the truth.
Well, you know what? Some people are not quite into actually, horror films was something I wasn't always into too, and it just kind of I find the horror film conventions have got some of the nicest fans, though, I'll tell you that.
That's
Uh,
good.
yeah, yeah, and of course, you were in Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger with the absolutely awesome Harrison Ford.
Yeah, he was wonderful and wonderful to work with.
Yeah, yeah,
He also, you
Harrison.
know, he knew how to do carpentry. I don't know if you know that about him. And
Yep.
we were sitting at during one scene, and things were taking a longer time, and so I started to talk to him how I needed an outdoor stage for the to take on tour, and he just drew one up for me right there. Drew it up for me and said, "Here, this will work." And
Oh,
it was
wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's a smart man. He was very, very, very kind to everybody on a set. Yeah.
And, he was kinda like a modern day Steve McQueen, when you really stop and think about it. Except Harrison, I guess, could fly as well, 'cause pilot's license, so,
Hmm, hmm.
yeah. No, and, so you worked in 2 of those. Of course, you weren't in the one with Alec Baldwin, I don't think.
No. Mm-mm.
No. Okay. And I'm looking down here too, like Phenomenon, I saw that in the theater with
Hmm.
John Travolta.
Yeah, yeah. Sweet man. Sweet man.
I've heard all great things about John.
Hmm, hmm. He's a very sweet man. He was very, very attentive, and he was just so good on a set. And he respected what we had to do and how to do it. And good man.
Yeah. And The Odd Couple too. Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon.
Yeah, that was wild.
Two, I gotta say, those guys, here's one of the things I love about those two is like Abbott and Costello, Abbott was always a straight guy, and Costello was always the uh the foil guy, the funny man. With Mathoff and Lemon, it could go either way, you know. Like in the Odd Couple, Mathoff was the straight man, but then you look at Out to Sea, Lemon's a straight man. You know, I
Mhm.
like it how they were able to switch it off, and those two guys were always great together.
Yeah.
Talk about memories of working with those two.
Well, it was only good, you know. I played. I think it was an ex-wife or something. As I remember, Walter Matthau is a devil. He's a rascal. He loved the women. He just loved to have fun on a set, and Mr. Lemon always kept everything in order, which was good.
Ah,
And I'm sure he was hard to keep in order, Walter Matthau. They were wonderful together. And it was very good that they had that time on Earth to do what they do, and that they found each other, and that it evolved into some wonderful films together.
so Jack Lemmon in reality was a straight guy, and Walter Matthau was.
Well, there's Walter Matthau is so huge. He's so huge. His spirit is huge. Everything about him is almost larger than life. And yeah, they were wonderful.
Oh yeah. Well, one film I do gotta bring up that I saw at I didn't see it in the theater. I actually saw it at down at the university where the film society does some screenings, and that is Me and You and Everyone Else We
Hmm,
Know.
hmm.
I don't know how often you get asked about this film. I found it to be a very enjoyable movie, directed by Miranda July.
That's right.
Yeah, I like her
She,
last name
she,
because my birth month.
oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a very, very smart young woman, and she put that film together, and we were all very proud of her.
Um, that was a great ensemble piece too. And I like independent films,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of times you get these movies, these really huge movies that play at the theaters, but I'm one of these people that when I find something that is not advertised heavily, chances are that's going to grab my attention a lot more than something that is,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
And this was a film, of course, when I found out of the got the schedule for the film society. I went down there, and this is one of the films I chose to see. So yeah, it was a really good ensemble, and because I know with you, you've done plays and you've done television. So
No, I think you just froze.
did I?
Just froze. You
What do you
okay?
mean?
There,
Yeah.
you just suddenly stopped. And
Oh, did I?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, no, no, we run my family, we run a theater down here in
Hmm.
Topanga Canyon, California. And you should go, you take a peek at it. It's www.theatricum.com. It's Theatricum. And we run a theater and we do classes for all ages, as well as a 4 to 5 play repertory season every summer.
Uh-huh.
We've been around since 1973, and it's turned out to be a wonderful space. And yeah, that's that's where I work now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So doing plays is your passion.
Well, if you must know, it's probably for most actors the passion.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, because with a play, you're right there. You don't have
Yeah,
a director
yeah.
yelling cut, you have to be on your game. I would screw that up.
No, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful art form, and it reaches audiences in a way that a film can't. It's so immediate, and it's the the one and only time that you do it. So what happens is the relationship between the audience and the actor is everything. Sometimes shows will be extraordinary because the audience really gets into the play, and the actors will follow suit. And yeah, it's a wonderful medium. Theater is a wonderful medium.
Well, since I don't know the background of all this, walk us through the typical putting together a play. What makes you choose a particular play that you want to do?
Well, as an artistic director, what you do is you have to look around the world, then look around the community that you have, see what's going on, see what people need to see in
Hmm.
order to think and help them through whatever things they're going through. So it really has to do with your audience. Then once you've done that, then you look at your company, if you're a repertory company, and you think about all your actors. And then you select the play. So it comes out of a whole thing, not one person, as
Hmm.
as that will happen in film. It comes out of what's going to happen there for that brief time that you perform, whether it's 14 or 20 performances. This isn't a Broadway run. It's for a summer performance. So once you've done the play, then you have casting, and you see as many people as you can, all colors, all races, all ethnicities is what we like to see. And then you select what's right for the play. And usually when you cast, you have about 5 or 6 people. And what you find in casting is that 9 times out of 10, most of the people agree with the choice. That's what I found over the years.
Oh,
And then you go into rehearsal. We can only afford 60 hours worth of rehearsal where I work, because it's expensive because we like to pay union wages.
mhm.
And then we put them up, and altogether this coming year, we're going to have 4 shows, which is very exciting. We're going to be doing Merry Wives of Windsor, Shakespeare's in the 50s. Going
Mhm.
to put it in 1950. We're going to be doing usually we do Midsummer Night's Dream because it's the perfect way for anybody who doesn't or has been afraid of Shakespeare, doesn't want, or you want to introduce your kids to it. A Midsummer Night's Dream is the way to go because
Yeah, I like that one. Yep.
yeah, it's a wonderful play, and it's about love and
Mhm.
magic and mystery and working class. It's great. And then the other play that we're going to be doing is I'm putting together a piece about Robert Smalls, who was one of the first African American congressmen in the
Okay.
mid 1800s. And so we're going to be doing that. And then the last one we're still selecting.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Midsummer's Night's Dream because I really like the 1999 adaptation, film adaptation to it.
Mhm.
Very underrated, but also very magical film. I actually went to that twice, you know.
Good, good, good.
Yeah,
Oh, it's a great play. It's a
yeah.
great,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Yeah. Um,
So
just a
we've
sec.
run out of things to say.
Well, I want to look through just to make sure because I do
Okay.
have one. I have a question, but I want to save it for the last question.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, I want to save it for the last question because I think it's okay. Okay. Before I get to that last question, you got a lot of television, a tremendous amount of television. I couldn't possibly go through it all. One I am going to point out, of course, the Jimmy Stewart show.
Oh, what a wonderful man.
I love Jimmy Stewart.
He was great. It's very interesting with Jimmy Stewart because, I come from a very liberal background.
Uh-huh.
And he's a very conservative background, and so when I got hired, they said to me, "Now there will be no politics on this set." And so we agreed, and so there were 2 of us on the John MacGyver and myself. We were the liberals, and everybody else was conservative. It was great. We all got along great.
Oh yeah. Well, it's just a thing, you know. I think people can get along. I don't think politics even needs to come into anything, really.
I know, not with your work. Yeah.
Yeah, I love James Stewart, but you did a lot of television, and I'm not going to list it all off here, but
I know.
it what notable ones stand out to you that you've done?
Oh God. I don't know, going back, when you work in television, it's a job and you get it done and you go and it's all very swift. I mean, that's the reason Jimmy Stewart didn't do his series more than 1 year. It made him so angry. It went too fast. He just got so angry because of that. Because if they brought in a tray full of glasses and set it down, he needed to do it a couple times and they wouldn't let him. Things like that really bothered him, that he couldn't have the whole experience of what was happening. And it was a lovely family. It was Julie Adams, was his wife on that, and it was a lovely company. And I learned a lot from him, watching him and how he worked.
My goodness, yeah, you got a lot of credits. I've interviewed Larry Wilcox from Chips. I noticed you were an episode of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually sent my mom at Christmas time a cameo by Larry Wilcox, and listening to mom's reaction over the phone because she was watching it while she was on the phone with me, and I was like, she says, "Is that Larry Wilcox? He's gotten older."
Yeah, that's what happens. It's
I
just
had,
like you, Mama.
yeah, well, Larry was a great guest. So I'm gonna wrap this up by saying,
Okay, good.
Will Geer, your dad,
Yeah.
you have such a wonderful relationship with him. I'm gonna put you on the spot and ask,
Uh-oh.
what is the most memorable time on a shoot with him?
The most memorable time on a shoot would be probably silence.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I think the most memorable time always with my father was at a nursery,
Mhm.
looking and talking about the plants and which ones were good for this area and which ones aren't good for that, and then telling me the Latin names. He was happiest around nature and the gardens, and I loved being with him when he was happy like that.
Wow. I love the fact that, you incorporated him in, the 2 films that you wrote, you know? I think that
Yeah,
yeah, it because you don't get a lot of those stories in the business, you know?
I know.
And yeah, and you
They
had
call it
that.
nepotism, but you know, no, no, I always, he was one of my favorite people to work with when we worked on stage. I have a wonderful story of my dad when we were doing, I think it was School for Scandal, and I was playing the ingenue, and he was the older character actor in it, and we had a scene together, and I kept moving downstage so he could be seen better. And then he would move downstage so I could be seen better. And we got right to the edge of the stage. I was afraid he was going to fall off. That's just the way he was. He loved to let everybody else shine.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, you definitely shine, that's for sure. Would you like to plug that website, again for your,
Sure, sure. It's www.theatricum. It's spelled like this, Theatricum, Theatricum. It's
okay.
Latin for theater,
Mhm.
theatricum.com. Yeah, yeah, and you can see what it is we do.
Yes,
And then if you're ever down here, come. It's outdoor
you know
theater.
what? I've never been to the States before. I actually just started traveling in 2017, believe it or not, and I'm about to be 50 in July. So,
Mhm.
I'm just kind of getting out of my cocoon here, you know, because I've
Good.
lived here my
About
entire
time.
life.
There you
Yeah, absolutely. But,
go.
do you have any other web pages you want to plug on here?
No, 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 that's my work.
Okay. And I always ask if people have charities that they're involved with. Do you have any charities that you want to plug and promote on here?
Well, our theater is a nonprofit.
Hmm.
The charities, no, no, I think that's so personal. I think
Yep.
it's very personal how you give as a human being that, no, I wouldn't do that. I don't like plugging.
Oh, okay. No, so you know, no, that's good. Well, you know what? It was wonderful having you spend some time with me today, you know, and
Yeah.
I yeah, I appreciate you getting back to me. It was quite an honor, and you warmed my day up a little bit because I tell
Good.
you,
I know it's cold.
I'm in a basement apartment here, and I'm going to tell you, I was covered up in my blankets, and I was still shivering.
I
Like,
know it's very cold. It's just cold down here too. Well, you take care. Blessings, and hope you travel.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, absolutely. Before I let you go, would you do a plug for my show?
What do I say?
Just state your name and say you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise. That's the name of my show,
Hello, my name is Ellen Geer, and I want you to listen to Greg on Python. Oh,
Paradise.
God. Okay. Is that wasn't very good, but you'll be okay.
You know what? I'll be totally fine with that. Thank you so much for allowing me the honor to chat with you today. I really appreciate it.
Okay, all right. We'll see you then. Take care.
Take care. God
Bye bye.
bless.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.